Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and happy Bookmas Day 12? Is today the 12th day of Bookmas? Holy crap. Now, I know at the beginning of the month I said I was going to be doing 12 days of Bookmas, but since we ended up doing our Christmas ambiance video, I did say that I would be doing 13 videos instead because that wasn't one that originally had been planned. So we will be doing 13 days of Bookmas, so technically today is not the last one. But we do have something special that we're doing for this episode of Bookmas. That is the 2026 Read Your Bookshelf Challenge. Now, I know what you're saying, Rochelle, you are already doing 3 bingo boards for 2026, and you are not wrong. But I can't resist a good challenge, especially when the challenge takes part over an entire year. These are just challenges that are so much more feasible for me, and in my brain make me think that it's something that I'm going to be able to do. Now this challenge is hosted by Chantel Reads All Day, and I heard about this challenge because of my booktube friend Becca, aka Gemini Pages. She has been doing Vlogmas for the month of December, and I've honestly been eating up every single video whenever she posts them. I love her content so much, and I feel like she probably did start booktube before I did, but a lot of the other creators that started around the same time as me aren't really around anymore. And so in some ways I feel like her and I have kind of been on the same journey together and doing our booktubes for the same duration of time. Now that probably isn't the case, but in my brain that's just kind of how it feels. She's one of the friends that I made when I created my channel. But I will leave Becca's information down below so you can go and give her a follow because like I said, I absolutely adore her. But she is how I found out about Chantel's channel and about this really cool reading challenge. And I couldn't resist. I had to go and do this as well. And I think it's a great challenge because it really forces you to go and read books off of your bookshelves. And as you know, I have a lot of books. I do a lot of book hauls because I tend to get a lot of my books whenever they're on sale. So that was how these shelves were able to get filled up so quickly. And I really want to go and read these books, especially in the new year. As you know, I will be getting married in 2026. So going and buying books even when they're on sale isn't really going to be something that I want to do a lot of. So that brings in this challenge, which I think is so exciting because it has a different prompt for each month. And a couple of the different rules for this challenge is 1, you need to read these books in 2026. And then Chantel was saying that you could go and mix and match. So if you wanted to read one of the books that you picked for the month of September, you could read it in January. It just has to be in the year of 2026 for it to count. And I'm also kind of adding another additional challenge for myself as well. Also, as always, Nugget is eating her food in the background, so if you hear crunches, that is why. She just loves eating her food with my voice in the background, I guess. I think it just soothes her. It just serenades her while she's eating her yummy food. But the challenge that I want to add for myself is not only do I want to read books that are on my bookshelves, but I also want to add the challenge of not picking any books that I have listed in any other challenge I'm doing for 2026. So if they're listed on my horror bingo, my mystery thriller bingo board, or my romantasy bingo board, they cannot be included in the 2026 reading challenge. I want my options for this to be completely separate. And I already had to pick out the books before recording because there were some that had me pretty stumped and I had to think about them for a while because I wanted to avoid going and picking other books that I might be tempted to use on these bingo boards in case if I didn't like my original pick. But I have all my choices out, so let's go through them. The first one is for January, and January is my birth month. And this one is the title needs to include an article, a, an, or the. Right away, I decided I wanted to go with a Crescent Moon Tearoom by Stacy Sivinski. This was one that my partner actually got me for my advent calendar last Christmas. And I have really wanted to read it. I think the next book, I don't know if they're a series, but I got the next book that also is kind of associated with this one. I'm assuming at least that they're in the same world, and I really do want to read them, but as you might know, Cozy fantasies or cozy stories are kind of my kryptonite. I love them so much, but they're always tearjerkers for me because there's always a piece that reminds me of my grandma, and my grandma's the one that got me interested in books and a lot of cozy hobbies that I still enjoy to this day. We are forcing myself to read this book because I'm sure I'm absolutely gonna love it. I mean, it has Tearoom in the cover, and that just screams me, I love tea. It's one of my favorite things. So this is gonna be the book that we're gonna pick. I also usually read at least a couple sentences of each book, just in case if this is the first time you're hearing about a book and you'd like to know a little bit more about it, so you could also add it to your TBR. So this says, ever since the untimely death of their parents, Anne, Beatrix, and Violet Quigley have made a business of threading together the stories that rust in the swirls of ginger, cloves, and cardamom that lie at the bottom of their customers' cups. Their days at the tea shops are filled with talk of butterflies and good fortune, intertwined with the sound of cinnamon shortbread being snapped by laced fingers. That is until the Council of Witches comes calling with news that the city diviner has lost her powers, and the sisters suddenly find themselves being pulled in different directions. I just think this is probably going to be such a cozy book, and if I enjoy reading this one, I might just have to go and snag up the next book and maybe continue it. I feel like even though this book has witches, and witches always seem like the perfect read to read during the fall time or during Halloween, I also do think that like nice wintry snowy weather is the perfect time to go and curl up with a cozy read as well. Then the next prompt is for February, and that is 3 or more objects on the cover. And this one seemed tricky at first, but then I found the perfect book for this one, and I feel like this is almost cheating because it is so perfect. And that is Dating and Dragons by Kristy Boyce. I read Dungeons and Drama last year and absolutely loved it. I do play D&D, but not as much as my partner who got me introduced into it. And I have been really wanting to read this one. I know that I've had a friend, Cass, who said that she wasn't too wild about this book and preferred the first one, but I am really interested. I'd love to read it, and I just love the main character's hair. She has her hair in a braid, and that's how I tend to wear my hair a lot of the time too. So I am really curious about this one, and I mean, all the different objects that are on the book make it perfect for this prompt. So it says, Quinn Norton is starting over at a new high school and hopes that joining a D&D game will be the trick to making friends. The plan sounds even better when she's invited into a group that includes Logan Weber, the cute and charming guy she met on her first day of class. But this isn't your average D&D campaign. This group live streams their games and enforces strict rules, no phones allowed, and no dating other group members. Oof. For March, we have a weapon on the cover. I decided to pick Plague Town by Ashley Parker. Now, I know that this book is technically on my 10 before the end for the year of 2025, but I'm currently dealing with a little bit of a reading slump after going so hard in November with reading a bunch of books. And honestly, I'm kind of doing my own slow pace, and I don't know if I will be able to read this book. So I'm gonna put this on my tentative list for next year, and it does have a weapon in the character's hand. This one also is like a zombie apocalypse type of book, and I have been really wanting to get into some more zombie apocalypse books. I'm having withdrawals. I need some zombies in my life again. So people are dying, then they are waking up hungry. In the small university town of Redwood Grove, people are succumbing to a lethal strain of flu. They are dying, but not for long. Ashley Parker and her boyfriend are attacked by these shambling, rotting creatures that crave human flesh. Their lives will never be the same again. This one is one that I picked up, I think, in one of my very first book hauls from Book Outlet. I don't know anyone that's talked about this book, but this is one that is definitely my kind of niche because I love zombies. I love stories that are like this and survival type of things. So I really want to finally get the chance to read this book. Then we have April, which is title includes a conjunction and, but, for, so, or if you're like me, you can pull up the Conjunction Junction song because I had to go and sing that a few times to try to remember other conjunctions. But the one that I decided to go with this was The Scorpion and the Night Blossom by Amelie Zhao. This one I have wanted to get ever since I saw the sprayed edges, but also the fact that when I was looking for books that kind of had K-pop Demon Hunter vibes, this was one that showed up in the search and automatically I was very intrigued. I also do have a friend, Ivy at the Geek Goddess, who ended up doing a recommendation video for books that relate to your favorite has-been hotel character, and she picked this one for Nifty. I also did go and give her the recommendation, but she ended up going and sticking with that one, and I just feel like since I love Nifty so much, I need to finally go and read this book. It says, 9 years ago, the war between the Kingdom of Night and the Kingdom of Rivers tore On Ying's family apart, leaving her mother barely alive and a baby sister to fend for. Now the mortal realm is falling into eternal night, and beautiful ravenous demons, roam the land, feasting on the flesh of humans and drinking their souls. I mean, if you've watched K-pop Demon Hunter, I feel like you would understand what I mean when like that first sentence really seems like it has those similar vibes. I do feel like this would be a book that would be right up my alley because it kind of has that apocalyptic feel to it as well. So I'm excited to finally get the chance to check this one out. May's prompt is that it needs to include a place. So it could be a valley, woods, library, any of those things. And I went with Jade City by Fonda. This is kind of funny because I found out about this book from Becca from Gemini Pages and also this challenge, so it kind of feels like a nice little homage to her. But I went and picked this book up I think a couple months ago from Second and Charles because I've really been wanting to go and read this series, and I feel like having it on this challenge will be a great way to push me to read it because she is a little bit chunky, but I have a feeling I'm gonna go and zoom through this book. So it says, for centuries, honorable green bone warriors have used magical jade to enhance their abilities and defend the island of Kikon from foreign invasion. Now the war is over and a new generation vies for control of Kikon's bustling capital city. 4 siblings of the powerful Cole family must prepare for battle, and the fragile peace between the clans is about to break. This sounds really great. I think I haven't really been in a fantasy type of mood or fighting type of stuff lately, so that I think that's what's really delayed me from going and picking this up, but I can't wait to start it, and I'll probably need to go and snag the other books in the series. For June, we have title is 5 or More Words. My pick is I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast is Me by Jamison Shea. I've had this book for a while on my shelf. I want to say I've had it on a horror bingo board in the past, but just never got around to it. So I definitely do want to try to get to this one. And I mean, this has enough words in the title that this was perfect for this prompt. Soon I'd be a name no one would forget, a raging fire they couldn't escape. Lori has always danced in the cutthroat world of ballet at a disadvantage. Tired of being overlooked, she ventures deep into the Paris catacombs, where she finds a pulsing blood river that offers her everything she's dreamed of, and work toward power and awe. With it, she takes her place above her peers, but soon she cannot distinguish her own lust for more with the primordial presence in her veins. Lori quickly learns she's not the only monster around, and her vicious desires put a target on her back. Ooh. So I know friends that have read this book and have really liked it, but honestly, I didn't really know what this one was about. So I'm very intrigued and I can't wait to finally get the chance to read this. So then moving on to July, we have to have a book that has a map of some sort. And this was kind of easy if you have a lot of fantasy books, but I feel like with certain ones, I already put them on my Romantasy bingo board, or there are other options that I could use for that. So the books that I could use for this were actually a little bit tricky, but I decided to go with Can't Spell Treason Without T by Rebecca Thorne, and this one does in fact have a map on the inside of it. Now, the reason I haven't been reading this book is because it's also a cozy fantasy, and I put these ones off. I feel like I read a cozy fantasy once a year and then I don't read anymore. So if I read one for the year, then I have to wait until the next year. So there's quite a few cozy fantasies in this reading challenge that I really want to push myself to go and read. And I think this author actually lives in Colorado now, which is super cool. Run away with me, the mage had said, her eyes alight. You like tea, I like books. Let's open a shop somewhere remote and forget the world exists. All Raina and Chianti want is to open a bookshop that serves tea while firelight drifts between the rafters. I mean, that sounds perfect to me. But Raina works as one of the queen's private guards, and Chianti is the most powerful mage in existence. Leaving their lives isn't so easy. I mean, this just sounds so cute and cozy. This has so many things that I absolutely love, like tea and books. So we're gonna read this book. Mark my words, it's gonna happen in 2026. For August, the prompt is water, and I decided to pick Chlorine by Jade Song. I was supposed to read this book in the previous year, but just didn't get around to it. So this one has kind of been sitting on my shelves, and I really would like to go and finally get the chance to read it. Ren Yu is a swimmer. Her daily life starts and ends with a pool. Her teammates are her only friends. Her coach is her guiding light. If she swims well enough, she will be scouted, get her scholarship, go to a good school. Her parents will love her. Her coach will be kind to her. She will have a good life. Oh, okay, that description alone is rough. I know that this is kind of like a coming of age and potentially a little bit of horror in it. So I'm intrigued to check it out. I know I have friends too that have read this book and have had really good reviews on it. So it's finally going to be my time. We're getting to this in 2026. Then for September, the prompt is an animal. And I picked The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong. And I got this one when we went on a trip with my fiance's mom. I have really wanted to read this one. I think the cover is so cute and cozy. Cozy keyword. So we're going to read this one too. This says, a wandering fortune teller finds an unexpected family in this warm and wonderful debut fantasy, perfect for readers of Travis Baldry and Sangu Mandana. Tao is an immigrant fortune teller traveling between villages with just her trusty mule for company. She tells only small fortunes, whether it will hail next week, which boy the barmaid will kiss, when the cow will calve. She knows from bitter experience that big fortunes come with big consequences. I know I'm probably going to cry when I read this one, but we're going to make it happen. I have a bunch of cozy fantasies here. We're going to make it happen. Maybe I'll just make like a separate little reading vlog where I do reading cozy fantasies and try not to cry. That could be a challenge for myself. Then October's prompt is books. And this one's fun because it's book on the title, cover, etc. I had a few different options when I was looking at my shelves, but I decided to go with A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid. This one has books on it, but it also has lovely sprayed edges that have books too. I've been wanting to read this one ever since I first saw it and saw that it had books as the sprayed edges, but I just never got around to it. It says, it began as all things did, a girl on the shore, terrified and desirous. Effie has always believed in fairy tales. Even though crumbling under the pressure of her first term at college, she can't always seem to tell the difference between fact and fiction. Her only solace has been Ungahard, an epic from Lyrian national hero and author Emery's Meridian. Taken by chance and maybe fate to the late author's estate, she is intent on finding the purpose to her own story, but instead stumbles upon Preston Hewelry, a scholar from the literate college. I'm intrigued. I have some people I know that liked the first book but didn't enjoy the second one, and I do have the second book as well on my shelves, so we'll see. If I like this one, maybe I'll go and pick up the next one right away, and I can see how I feel about the series. But we're finally going to read this one as well. November is a vehicle on the cover, and Chantel did go and say that you could use like a car, horse, dragon, anything that you ride on, but I decided to include one thriller, which I don't think is going to be one that I pick for the mystery thriller bingo board, and that is Not So Perfect Strangers by L.S. Stratton, and there is a car on the cover. So this says Tasha Jenkins has finally found the courage to leave her abusive husband. Taking her teenage son with her, Tasha checks into a hotel the night before their flight out of DC and out of Cordell Jenkins' life forever. But escaping isn't so easy, and Tasha soon finds herself driving back to her own personal hell. I'm excited to read this one. I don't know too many people that have, but I believe I have already read a few books by this author and I did really enjoy them. Then we move on to December, and this of course will be the last prompt for this challenge, and that is true or false. And a little bit more information on this, it could have those words, or it could also have lies in the title, could be a true statement about the book, so something like everyone is villains type of thing. But I did find one book that I didn't already use because I was nervous. The one book that was staring me straight in my face, I already used for the mystery thriller bingo board. So the one that I can go and use is going to be The Lies of Alma, Blackwell by Amanda Glaze. It has lies in the title, so perfect. And this says, a sweepingly romantic gothic mystery about a girl poised to inherit a famously haunted California mansion, and a stranger who arrives with a dark warning. For over a century, the Blackwells have protected the town of Hollow Cliff from vengeful spirits. 17-year-old Neve is ready to take over her ailing grandmother as the town's witch protector, unlike her mother who left when Neve was a child and never looked back. This one is going to be my option. I know that there's also water on the cover, which would have worked for a different prompt in this challenge, but because I was limited with the ones that would work for this prompt, this is going to be my pick. But those were all the books that I'm going to attempt to try to read for the 2026 reading challenge. I am really happy with a lot of the options I picked, especially since, like I said, I wanted to pick books that I didn't already plan on reading for any other challenges. So with all the challenges combined, I'm going to be reading quite a few books off of my bookshelves, which is a really pleasant feeling to have. So I'm excited. I'm very hopeful that this will be a very doable challenge for me. So my hope is, at least with my TBR game that I do every single month, I will at least pick one book from this reading challenge to go and include on that monthly TBR. So we shall see how things go. I'm very, very excited. And if you're interested in also trying out this challenge, I do have the information included down below, so you can watch Chantel's video that goes and explains a lot of the rules and everything. And I do have the prompt information down as well, so maybe you can plan your TBR while you watch her video. And I know I forgot this quite a few times, but if you've watched this video and you don't know what to comment, maybe go and leave a dagger for the weapon prompt. And I'm super excited to try out this challenge in 2026. I feel like it's very doable. I am not burdening myself with so many challenges to do at all. But as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this isn't the last day of Bookmas. There's going to be one more. So definitely go and subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss the next episode of Bookmas. And as always, I want to remind you that you're worthy and capable of amazing things. Bye, friends! He's purring, even though he's not happy to be on camera again. You know, this is kind of your own fault. You keep appearing on camera. You do. Oh, Nuggie's showing up. Hi! Nuggie! Hi! It's the Nuggie Nugs. Oh yes, hi.